Hey folks, what's up? This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. I've got a topic here I've been wanting to talk to you guys about for quite some time, and it's about questions that I get asked from the public. If you look at last week's video, you'll notice that it's kind of a similar thing. Some questions that I've been asked before about precious metals, and here's a few that I want to talk about now. One of them is, what kind of gold should I get, Brian? And we're going to go through that in this video here. And another one is, what holds the most value, bullion or graded type coins? And how do I sell it once it's time? So these are questions I want to talk about real quickly. I'm not going to make it a super long video if I can help it here. So let's get started from here. All right, certified coins, to buy or not to buy. You know, if a lot of you have been watching my videos for years, I've been putting out quite a few videos, and I've always said that, you know, you want to avoid the graded certified U.S. gold coins that had really exorbitant premiums. And when I'm talking about premiums, I'm talking about a coin that had a premium of maybe $200, $300, $400 over its melt value. You know, there were a lot of people out there, including, you know, if you think about it, there were a lot of telemarketers out there that were on television and online that were pumping certified graded coins as a way to buy precious metals. And one of the ways that they were selling this whole premise of buying certified graded gold coins was confiscation. That back in at one time, you know, gold coins were confiscated unless they were numismatic or collectible. But, you know, I've done a bunch of videos on that, and that is just kind of total nonsense. It will never be any confiscation on U.S. gold that would be viewed under or viewed by any courts under any legal sense as being proper. Because if you remember, when Roosevelt outlawed the ownership of gold by U.S. citizens, we were under the gold standard at the time. And it was under a national emergency that they could say they were doing that. Our currency was backed by gold. And gold was basically the same price as, you know, a $20 bill was worth around $20, maybe $21 in gold at the time. People felt a patriotic duty to return gold at that time. And again, we were under a gold standard, which we're not anymore. You know, as you know, Roosevelt, I mean, that's a whole rabbit hole we can go down. But we're talking about grading right now. So for years and years and years, there have been a lot of telemarketers and people that have promoted common date or common graded U.S. gold coins as a way to avoid confiscation. And I'm here to tell you right now, it's BS. It's just BS. You know I was about to say it, but it's just BS. You are never going to have confiscation on U.S. or gold coins in the United States because we're not on the gold standard. There's no excuse other than outright theft by the government. And trust me, if the government even said, you know what, we're going to just illegally take everyone's gold from them, you know what I mean? Unless it's numismatic, of course. We're going to take everyone's gold. We're going to take all their Krugerrands, all their Eagles, all their gold bars, all their silver bars and stuff like that, because this extends into silver as well. We're going to confiscate all that stuff. It's nonsense, folks. It's never going to happen. We're not on the gold standard. We're not on a silver standard. We're on a fiat standard. There's no legal basis which they could do that for. And I got to thank Peter Schiff for pointing that out many, many years ago. There's just no legal basis. The only way they could do it is just outright theft, is come and take your gold and silver right now. So the idea that any particular product is going to be confiscated, you know, when you hear that, and it's from a purveyor of precious metals, or someone trying to sell you metals, run in the opposite direction, okay? That's good advice, I can tell you that for sure. If you hear it from someone that's not trying to sell you precious metals, you know, point them out to my videos, or have them give me a call or educate them properly, because that's just total nonsense. Confiscation, total nonsense. And it brings up a topic that we'll talk about next week, which is constitutional silver. You know, why you need to buy constitutional silver, because, you know, it's nonsense. And other reasons why you might want to buy constitutional silver, because you might need to trade it for a squirrel that your neighbor hunted or something. But again, next week we'll talk about that. Right now I want to talk about certified graded coins. And so here we go. these are your this is a $5 Indian, usually a little bit rarer than some of this stuff, but people that were going to buy gold did get suckered into buying common date graded $5 gold coins as well. But this is the most common hucked product that you would see. 20 libs and 20 saints, and doggone it, I didn't put a certified 20 lib out there, but there's an example of a 20 lib right there, and a 10 lib, earlier date. But this stuff was hawked by telemarketers again, and people online as a way to avoid confiscation for your thegold coins, and other oh well, I don't know what other reasons, and they come in different grades. If you know anything about numismatics, there's 70 different theoretical grades. That's where you see 63. A guy Sheldon back in the heyday invented grading 1 through 70 for a copper standard, for the standard for copper coins. Somehow the numismatic industry adopted that 1 through 70 Sheldon standard for every other coin on Earth. And since then, they've been certifying coins. Now, there's one thing I want to point out here. This is not an attack on the grading companies. For example, NGC, CAC, which is a fine company, PCGS, which has been around for a long time. These are NGC holders, all right? This is just merely suggesting that people have used these type of holders and used these services to kind of sell coins that were overpriced to a lot of folks. And here, I want to kind of give you an example. This is a 62 grade. Brilliant mint state grades start at 60. MS60 is the starting grade of an uncirculated coin that might have scratches and wear. Theoretically, 70 is a perfect coin. I mean, you've got a 69 there for a modern gold eagle. There's another product that you should not be buying is modern gold eagles graded. Okay, they're common as the day is long. People are going to say, well, Brian, how common is a $20 gold piece? Well, there's a 1924 $20 gold piece in mint state 63. And here's an interesting little stat for you. 358,000 of them have been graded by this company, PCGS. 358,000 of these mint state $20 gold coins, just, here's a kicker, just for 1924. So there's, almost probably, there might even be closer to 500,000 of these out there. And that's just this one company. Now, add another 300,000 or 400,000 for this company that's probably produced the same thing or maybe the like amount of those. Now you're at 600, 500 or 600,000 of these just for this date in mint state grades. Now, granted, the higher grades will bring money. People say, well, Brian, in the 69, will this coin bring much greater money? Well, that's a whole different story. And that's actually not what a lot of people were sold. They weren't sold 69s. Most folks that bought these kind of things on the basis that they wouldn't be confiscated and that this is why you're paying the higher premium, because they won't be confiscated. Then they're numismatic items and they have collector value. No, nonsense, bullshit. No, the reason they told you that is because they get a 20% extra big in it for themselves. So salespeople do selling you this kind of quasi-numismatic stuff. But the 358,000 of these new, probably mostly in the MS60, 61, 62, 63, and 64 grades. 65 gets a little bit rare, but not so much. 66, maybe so much, but 7s and 8s and 9s, probably a little bit rare. But again, people bought these type of coins for huge, huge premiums that were told that the things were going to be confiscated. And that is kind of why I wanted to bring up this subject, is because a lot of people were fooled into buying this stuff, paying huge premiums. And another reason I'm talking about it is because currently people that paid $100 and $200 over the price of gold for that coin, people that paid $200, $300 over for the price of that coin, people that paid, that's a half ounce, mind you, $100 or $150 over for that coin because it's an MS69 or maybe a 70, a couple $100 over, all right? Just lost their money, because what are they worth right now? These things are worth near the melt value, 62s, 63s. CAC 64 is maybe a little bit more, because in reality, and that's another rabbit hole, it's a better grading company, and not better, they're a little more stricter. I shouldn't say better, they all have their thing. A little more stricter, so typically they're tighter on their grading, so this would really be what they would call an MS65 in this holder or that holder. And maybe not so much that holder, because that's an old holder, but man, now I'm going into some numismatic stuff here, but folks, the folks that have bought this stuff right now, and you're sitting on $20 gold pieces, and you're sitting on this stuff that you paid big premiums for, and you recently checked it out, and you've been told that it's worth melt or under melt, which is really the reality of the situation, And grades, for common grades on this stuff, up to MS64 now, it is at melt or under melt. That may change in the future, but at this point, you just hang on to it. If you bought this stuff and you paid too much money, just hang on to it, folks. Don't sell it right now. It's just a gold play like everything else. And close your ears, because I'm going to do it. I told you so. And if you weren't watching my videos, I never told you so I can't say that to you. But if you've been watching my videos for a long time and you purchase this stuff, and I've been saying for years, overpriced, overpriced, overpriced. All right. And again, when we're paying huge premiums for U.S. gold because you thought it might be confiscated, or because it was certified, it was somehow special or something like it. It's not. There's millions of these $20 St. Gaudens out there in brilliant condition, beautiful conditions. Again, you're talking about just 358,000 that were graded. There's probably another 400,000 out there that have never been graded, another 400,000 there's a million of these out here in this condition out here. There's nothing rare about them, folks. That's a whole nother story that we can do down the future too, or in the future, about where these came from. These came from probably Europe, sometime during the 70s and 80s by guys like Gilio and others. Interesting story. We'll drop down that hole at some point, but it's something I've been wanting to talk about a long time. The confiscation story that you guys got sold on buying this kind of stuff, it was bullshit. All right, shouldn't be happy with the people that sold it to you. Certified coins. There's nothing wrong with certified coins. There's nothing wrong with the holders. There's nothing wrong with the numismatic market. However, these were misrepresented they were not represented to their clients properly, because they're again just huge premiums, and sold to people for the wrong reason. And the reason the premiums were high, again, on numismatic items, telemarketers can mark things up to 20%. All right. And these are kind of numismatic items. Collectible items, I think the government and most states are okay with a 20% markup. But when you're dealing in a real investment, and what most of the people that bought these things and paid huge premiums for should have bought these things. All right? And I'm going to lay them out here. Now, please forgive that holder. This thing should never be in a holder, but I should have grabbed a Krugerrand, not in a holder. Maple Leafs, Krugerrands, Eagles, Buffaloes, that's uncertified, spot plus, anywhere from, right now they're probably $120 to $140 over spot right now, depending on the vendors that you're going to. And by the way, if you're looking to buy or sell any types of precious metals, gold, silver, and platinum, give us a call at Commercial Rare Coins. We're very competitive. Just want to throw my little advertising in there, because that's why I do these things. But as I was saying, this is the kind of stuff that a lot of those folks should have bought. And I don't want you to be sour about what you bought, because gold has caught up to these things. Most of you should be making a profit, even if you bought these things for too much money. You should be getting to that. I mean, at 3,000, I hope so. You should be getting to that point. But really avoid this stuff. Stick with buying the common 1-ounce products at a very small premium over the price of gold. And here's one thing I don't want to do. I don't want to take a crap on numismatics, because numismatics is very special to me. I mean, it's a field that I've been in for a long time, and that's why it angers me so much to see telemarketers and people kind of hucking this stuff to poor souls that don't know any better, that don't know there's a million plus of these and made in 1924 that are still brilliant on circulate. So, well, numismatics is a beautiful field. I mean, there's a couple dates here that stand out here, and I'm hoping that you can see that one right there with some clarity. But there isn't. I mean, listen, how cool is that? It's a $10 gold piece from 1847. All right, even uncertified in a lower grade like that, it's still cooler. You're not going to find many of these earlier dates like you're going to find a 1924 Saint. This is actually probably a rarer coin to some degree than this coin by many degrees. All right, it's just not certified and it's uglier, but coins are cool. 1847, whose pockets did that pass through? I mean, there's an 1876 $10 gold piece that you don't have to pay you've never had to pay a huge premium. I mean, that coin is not much over the price of gold. Been through way more pockets, way cooler. And the same thing with a lot of this stuff. There's another 1847. I guess I've been collecting 1847s. There's a $1 gold piece. God bless its tiny little 1887 date there, which is hard to see, but you know, it's really cool. I mean, that's the equivalent of a U.S. silver dollar at the time, 1887. You know, a little bit easier to carry, I presume, easier to lose, but you know. And here's like $5 gold pieces from the 1860s, 1870s, and 1880s. A lot of them are really common. You can buy them for not much over the price of gold. But do you need to have them certified? No. So what I'm trying to say is that there's a great coin collecting is a lot of fun. There's a lot of history, and you can spend a lot of money on truly rare coins. But these ain't it, folks. This stuff is not it. That's not it. The 69, you know. A common date, 5 Indian, you know, a little bit rarer than the rest of them, but that's not it. Common date, $20 Saints and Libs, that's definitely not it, all right? So my advice is if you're buying gold or silver, again, avoid anybody that's trying to run away from people that are trying to tell you to buy this stuff. If you're buying rare coins, if you like rare coins, you still want to avoid this stuff because they're common as the day is long, these 20s and stuff. If you currently own this because someone sold it to you or you happen to get it in your paws or whatever it is somehow, hang on to it because, again, you're going to enjoy the ride in gold at this point, and that's really your best option. So my advice, avoid common graded coins, especially when you just want to buy gold, all right? And if you do like rare coins, focus yourself. Buy early stuff. You don't have to spend big premiums to buy cool early stuff like some of the stuff I've shown you here. On the other hand, too, you can spend $2 or $3 million and $5, $6, $7, $8 million on a gold coin as well. That's a different field. Numismatics is doing great, but I don't recommend you getting in numismatics unless you're truly interested in numismatics. Most people that just are investors that get numismatic, they always lose money. But if you really like rare coins, buy truly rare coins. If you just want to buy bullion, buy that stuff. All right, folks, I think that's a great lesson. And next week, hold on a second. I didn't answer one of the questions that I wanted to answer, which, how do I sell it once it's time? Well, that's going to take a long time. Well, not really. I lied. It's going to be real short, and I'll tell you why. I don't know how to tell you that answer. I can't give you an honest answer. How do I sell it once it's time? Well, if we're just talking about selling rare coins, you don't buy rare coins on timing. That's what investors do, and people that try to invest in rare coins as opposed to enjoy them and learn about them and understand the markets and understanding when to buy and sell, you stay away from rare coins, all right? That's a very specialized market. How do I sell it once it's time? Well, I think I'm confusing how do I sell and when should I sell, all right? But let me finish up with when should I sell? That's a question I get asked often too. When should I sell with precious metals, gold bars and stuff like that? Well, folks, one of the things that I've always viewed this gold as, now silver is a different thing. I view silver as way under its market value for a long time, in my opinion, and we haven't seen its all-time highs, despite seeing all-time highs almost on a continuous basis with gold for quite some time. But silver I see is more speculative with a bigger upside. Gold, though, my gosh, gold is just wonderful. Gold bullion to me is about securing your wealth, especially as as I'm getting older, and I really, and I know I'm a vendor and I know I'm a dealer in precious metals, but I really enjoy gold more and more for security value. And one of the reasons I think it's really secure, and I talked about many times, is because, the central bankers own it. The people that own the most money in the world, the people that create the money out there, the people that create the dollars that we hold in our pocket, what do they really own? What do they hold? They hold gold, all right? Well, they pawn the paper off on us. And I can see why. Gold is about wealth preservation first, not about getting rich. So as far as wealth preservation, let's stick with the simple products. And also, how do I sell it once it's time? That's a question. I guess I just answered 4 questions for you. How do I sell it once it's time? Well, give me 1 second. Let me take a sip here. No, I'm not sponsored by Kettle One, by the way. So, possibly they might like my work, but how do I know when it's time, once it's time to sell? That's the question. Like I said earlier, I got, when I looked at a little cheat note here, is I don't know how to answer that for you. I mean, what is your purpose of buying gold and silver? If your purpose of buying gold and silver is wealth preservation, then you sell when you need it. Okay, it's a hedge against a currency that's probably going to continue to fall for a long, long, long time. So again, that's my opinion. I'm not a financial advisor, but that's simply my opinion and how I live my life. Is I think that I would sell as needed, because first off, I'm not worried about this stuff. I'm not worried about any of this stuff, going to zero, reverting to zero. So to me, really, gold and silver is about wealth preservation. I don't see a big downside into either. Are either of these going to revert to US dollar zero or won zero or whatever? No, highly unlikely. And it's just really a matter of what you think of both metals. I'm a little more speculative than silver because I think it has a much greater chance to a double up would be reaching its all-time highs, while gold's already reached there many times. But does that mean gold's too high? I don't think so at all. No, gold, again, to me is about wealth preservation, even though it's done very well percentage-wise. So to answer the question again, how do I sell it? How do I sell it once it's time? Well, there is no time, folks. The time is when you need it. The time is if you're going to if you're going to stuff dollar bills under your mattress, which I wouldn't never advise. You wouldn't pull all those dollar bills at once. You'd pull them out as you needed. I want you to look at this as the same way, but way better than stuffing dollar bills under your mattress. That's it. I think I've answered a couple questions here, and really, I appreciate you guys watching, and make sure you hit the like and subscribe button there if you're watching one of the channels, and if you're watching the other channel, I appreciate you hitting me a big follow there as well. That's it, folks. You have a wonderful evening, and don't forget, feel free to ask me questions in the comment section below there, because I'm more than happy to answer. Have a wonderful evening, and my next video, I think, we'll talk about constitutional silver. Is it good for trading? I mean, when the zombie apocalypse happens, where you need this stuff. All right. I think that'll be a fun topic. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.